Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys saw, raised the Corvette up in the air. The reason we're doing that today is because, as you guys saw in the last video, put a hole through the oil pan. And come to find out, I had actually been using the wrong hardware for that transmission cooler line for like the last 7 years. What I found out was I ended up ordering, I found the bolt part number, ordered it through Chevrolet. I just got it, and yeah, that new bolt is significantly shorter than the other bolt that was in there that actually punctured a hole through the oil pan. So guys, be careful with when you take cars apart and you put things back together. I wasn't expecting to have to do this project. You know, I didn't really want to. Wanted to get the transmission and everything done, you know, car ready back on the road, but you know, we just got one more project to do. I actually have the project right here, as you guys can see. I ordered a new GM oil pan. All right guys, before we actually get started on tearing the car apart, I did forget one thing. Well, two things. You know, I saw this as an opportunity because I had to drop the oil pan, and I've seen two products out there that are on the market that I've been wanting to buy for the Corvette and help improve the longevity of the motor. One of those products that I wanted to buy was this oil pickup tube brace. Basically what this does is it adds another 180 degrees of brace holding the oil pickup tube to the oil pump. Now, I've seen guys that road race their cars, and you know, drag racing would apply to, that they've actually had issues with the oil pickup tube. And this brace, it was really cheap from Improved Racing. It was maybe $20 or $30, and basically what's going to happen is this will be installed along, you know, after I drop the oil pan. The second is actually going to be another product from Improved Racing, and that is going to be a oil pan baffle and crank scraper. This is the baffle, and here's the crank scraper. The reason I went with this was I saw this as an opportunity. You know, when life gives you the lemons, what do? Make lemonade. So I've been wanting to change the oiling system on this car for a while, but the problem is to go to a dry sump, you have to replace the crank, you have to move the battery, you have to buy a GM dry sump tank. Those things are like $1,000, and then there's oil pump is different. You know, there's just all these parts that you have to buy, and you know, my car still has a stock bottom end, and until something happens to it, I may consider a LS3 dry sump further down the road, but for right now, we do it with this Improved Racing baffle. Basically what this does is it's going to fit inside the stock oil pan. This actually will bolt to the bottom of the motor. This doesn't bolt into the oil pan. So unfortunately, the C6 install is a little bit more difficult than the other cars, you know, where you just drop the pan, bolt this to the pan, and you're good to go. This I actually have to take the windage tray off the motor, but unfortunately, guys, I think I'm going to actually have to remove the oil pickup tube. And that is a huge problem with the LS motors. If you don't get the O-ring on that oil pickup tube sitting just right, it can cause oiling problems. I mean, it's a real simple fix. Just drop the oil pan and replace that O-ring again, but you know, it's not something I really want to do. Now, another reason why I wanted to get this baffle was you guys can see these trap doors. When I move it, the door opens up. You know, the door opens up. So basically in high G corners, you know, the door will keep, these trap doors will keep oil in the oil pan. You know, when you're going around a road course, when you're launching at the drag strip, particularly in a road course, the oil will go from side to side. So it'll slosh to the passenger side, slosh to the driver's side, and it'll avoid the oil pickup tube. And in drag racing, it'll slosh toward the back. So those trap doors will help keep oil in the main oil channel, you know, in where the pickup tube is going to pick up the oil. So to help keep the motor alive, I decided to go with this. Now I'll admit, guys, this wasn't a cheap piece. This was this was like 300 bucks. So I wasn't planning on spending this money, but you know, this is a product I've wanted for a while, and 300 bucks for the setup versus, you know, 2,000 for a dry sump. Now these parts were not sponsored in any way. I've just used Improved Racing products in the past, and I've had no issue. Great communication with that company, and you know, they send out the products in a timely manner. Now, to help offset some of the costs, I'm going to do a merch plug. If you guys are interested in getting some key tags with the channel name and an SS on the back of it, I have these for sale on my eBay page. The link is in the description below, and you know, you guys could help support the channel by buying some key tags. I also have stickers for sale as well. Alright guys, you'll see that I have disconnected the rear subframe bolts. I also dropped down the front sway bar, took off the brackets for that, disconnected that from the subframe. I also loosened up the front subframe bolts. I think you can see that. Got it down to where it's like, got an inch probably between the subframe and the frame. I have the torque tube sitting on this tall jack stand. So that's basically going to give you all your room to get this oil pan out. The oil pan is out of the car. Here's the oil pan. Nothing too crazy inside the pan. I'm not seeing any bearing material or anything like that. I got the windage tray taken off. I also got the oil pickup tube removed. That's that hole right there. You will see there are these button head screw caps that you have to put in, and there's 7 of those that you have to put in. You put those in and you torque them to 5 foot-pounds. Those are to reinforce the threaded nutsert that's on the bottom of the scraper. So that's just a kind of reinforcement. Alright guys, I have the scraper installed. They want you to grab a 0.02, I think that's, so this will be 2/100ths of a feeler gauge. I checked the back, we're good. It said check multiple spots. You know, we're good on the side. We're good over here. It clears there. Clears the front. Clears here. Clears the front by, you know, there's no interference. Oil pan baffle installed. And you can see the doors are here on the side. Right here. This door will open up when you hit a curve. It'll allow fluid in one end and it won't allow it to go out the other. You got the back trap door right here. All the bolts torqued down 18 foot-pounds. If you guys look behind the pickup tube, you see a black piece of aluminum that says improved on it. That is the brace for the pickup tube. And guys, that was a total pain in the ass to put in, because you have to have the room to put the brace in, but it's literally behind the oil pickup tube right here. And you can't take the baffle out because that has to go around and under the pickup tube. So it's not like you can put that in second. You have to put in the oil pan, the crank scraper, the baffle, and then the pickup tube. And all in the same time, we're trying to hold up the oil pickup tube. What I ended up doing was actually putting a magnet, my magnetic pen on it, held the magnet in place. I tightened the left side of the oil pickup tube bolt. I tightened that down, and finally it gave me enough room to get the magnet to actually turn the bolt for a little bit. Got it far enough to where I could actually get a wrench in there, and used a open-ended wrench and just had to literally tighten it turn by turn by turn. Eventually I got it, and you're supposed to torque it down to 8.83 foot-pounds, and there's no way you're going to fit a torque wrench there, so I just got it hand tight. So what I'm going to end up doing is put this GM pipe sealant with PTFE. You put that on the corners where the oil pan meets the block. And what corners I'm talking about is here. It's where the front cover and the rear cover, you're going to put it there, like this corner here. You're going to put it here, and then in the 2 back corners where the rear timing cover, it's not a timing cover, but the rear drive cover where that seals against the block. You just put it in those 4 corners. Oil pan is installed. The transmission cooler lines are all installed. And here's that bracket that caused this whole issue in the first place. You can see I've got a new bolt in there. I ordered that from Chevrolet. Came in, and we should not have any more problems with drilling into the oil pan. And the rest of the oil pan bolts are all new. Overall, guys, I didn't have any issue getting the oil pan in. One word of advice I'm going to say is take the bolts off the subframe. There's one here, there's one here. You know, the 4 bolts for the front subframe. Take the rears totally out, the front, leave it till it's on its last thread, and you should be able to get enough room with the oil pan and getting it up and over the cross member of the subframe. All of the bolts are torqued down 18 foot-pounds for the oil pan bolts, except for the back. That's about 8.5 pounds. So don't screw that up. They are 10 millimeter, but these back bolts that go into the back of the oil pan are only 8 pounds, 8.5 pounds. I got the oil cooler hooked up. There's got a new gasket on there. So hopefully this was just a quick overview of identifying the problem. You know, in my case, drilling a hole through the oil pan with too long of hardware, replacing the oil pan, dropping it, putting in the improved racing crate scraper, the baffle, and that oil pickup tube brace. All those parts, putting the oil pan back in, and torquing everything back down. Overall, guys, this swap wasn't that hard. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Thanks and have a great day.